um, an old Keelandish king, King Scotty, I think, or someone. Oh no, the
Mhm.
king before King Scotty had set up these like markers in the marsh. It's kind of like safe places.
Yeah, so Jeremiah didn't know a ton about him. He doesn't really push into the whole marshes, but he knew of a guy who has pushed farther in than most, or as far who's pushed in farther than anyone he knows. So, but what he knew about it was, yes, his previous king, about 100 or so years ago, before the founding of Saltmarsh, had had wanted to try to find a way through um, the whole marshes so that he could maybe make incursion upon the hold of the Sea Princes and take more land. It would have been kind of a backdoor entry into this country, as the whole marshes kind of has been a protective barrier for both of the countries for a very long time. Um, and in doing so, Jeremiah knew that there were some kind of safer places in the whole marshes set up by that king. And the starting point was where you guys are now. He gave you a set of coordinates to meet, and that's where you guys found that kind of lamp post that's burning with an eternal flame spell. But he doesn't know all that much about it. He's more of a Dreadwood guy as far as the Ranger is concerned. So that's where we find you guys are standing there, having just met. Um, Not even just met, but just seen this individual as he turns and takes off his cloak. So you want to go to the Who Marshes, huh? Why? Oh, don't all speak at once.
What was your question?
You want to go to the Hool Marshes.
Oh yes.
Why?
Uh, a bit challenging to explain, actually. We uh, I have reason to believe there may have once been an ancient forest here, and I think we have some part in restoring it. Some part to play, that is.
And who? Who's that? You?
Yes.
Hmm. Interesting. That's a new one. Well, he kind of looks up at the sky. We should probably forego a late start. The less you travel at night in the Hool Marshes, the better. Although it is truly unavoidable. Our first destination will be about 10 miles out. It'll take most of the day. Uh, we might as well move away from the shore here and start put together a little camp. And with that, he starts moving about and he starts foraging around the kind of swampy shoreline. He indicates a position maybe 100 yards away from the shoreline that you guys should go to. And in the meantime, you watch as he's kind of looking under logs. He's looking on some trees. He starts like picking things that you can't really tell what he's grabbing. Um, but a short time later, you watch as he kind of has this armload of what appears to be these strange fungus or mushrooms. They're really flat, and the caps on them are very wide. And he kind of piles them on the floor, grabs a couple of rocks, and kind of stacks them up in a circle, and throws a couple of these um, f- mushrooms into the fire. As you do so, that one of them hits a rock on the way in, and you hear just like a like a really kind of hard knock. And he kind of pulls them up in the center, and he starts lighting them with his tinderbox, and they light up pretty easily. In fact, he flips one of them over and runs his fingers along the underside, along the gills, the frills of the mushroom, and he watches these kind of spores poof up into the air. And he lights his tinderbox in the middle of the cloud, and they light up with flame, which catches the mushrooms themselves, creating like a delightful heat on this chill winter's afternoon. The fog itself kind of is so immersive in this area that it is kind of blotting out the sun. You can barely see that the sun is setting at this point in time on the horizon. I hope you brought rations. The food is a little on the scarce side in the marshes.
Noted. Can you eat those mushrooms? What are
Oh,
those?
if you want to break your teeth, I wouldn't. Good for firewood. Um, we call them oakwood mushrooms. Who knows what they're really called? And by we, I mean me. Uh, Sadly, uh, I've been kind of alone in my exploration of the marshes. Everyone's kind of given up on it long ago. But
Why haven't you?
well, something calls to me. With that, he turns and looks at the shoreline 100 yards away. Something calls to me. I'm searching. Um, an ancestor of mine was part of the expedition that created these lampposts. Would have perhaps been rumored to be called beacons of peace. Uh, they've always intrigued me. You see, many have forgotten about the expedition and uh, the, the goal of finding safe passage through the marshes. Um, but if you dig long enough and hard enough in the libraries of Keeland, you'll find record of it. Um, and as he's talking, he pulls out his pack and he pulls out like a little plate carved of like some really dark, dense wood. And he starts pulls out like a fruit, starts carving it up into slices, grabs like some jerked meat, some jerky, spreads it around on his plate, and scoops, grabs like a hardtack biscuit, puts it on his dish, and he starts kind of eating. Hey, please have a seat. Um, you should know the dangers that you're um, getting into before embarking. Anyways, the king wanted to find a way through about 100 or so years ago. The records are a little fishy on that. And so they started building walkways across. Very quickly, they realized within weeks these walkways would sink into the water. And, well, as you can see, and he indicates kind of this dock like walkway that kind of extends into the water that's kind of sinking in, wood rotted away mostly. It didn't work. So they opted they sent a number of expeditions out. What they found was there were portions of the land that seemed for a very long time to have not been swallowed up by the waters around it. And so they attempted to bring in arcanists and mages to make these areas safe. Um, and planting more of these beacons, so to speak, upon them, and creating areas where one could rest and recuperate, and shove off further into the swamp, perhaps finding new treasures, lands, and more suitable locations for these beacons. I personally have only been to one, up 10 miles in. Um, the history books call them beacons of peace, mainly because it seems, for whatever reason, whatever spell is long lost, have created sanctuaries where the uh, natural denizens of the swamp cannot come upon the land and hurt you. Also, it's quite delightful. These little areas, um, a special type of grass is grown, so quite delightful to sleep on. Actually, he starts kind of scooping some of his this fruit into his mouth, and yeah. Anyways, I when Jeremiah told me that others were interested in going deep into the swamp. I was selfishly motivated, I will admit. Um, I've encountered many dangers in my explorations of the swamps, but being alone, it's a little hard to push a little further out than the first beacon. The stories say that there are at least three before the expedition was lost altogether. Um, previous subsequent expeditions were sent after them to try to locate their parties, but they were all lost as well. And so the king decided it was not worth the risk. So further exploration into the swamps ended and hasn't been undertaken since.
Did they ever get near the center?
The center? Oh no.
The swamp.
The marshes are many hundreds of miles long. It's I don't know what greed uh, or ambition took over the king that placed his subjects in such danger to try to cross it. It seems nigh impossible at this point in time, unless you cross by air, of course. That is possible, but unreasonable in terms of uh, moving an army across it. But as far as I know, they were placing these beacons about 10 miles apart. So the farthest they've reached in was reportedly 30 miles. However, there's been no one that has reached that mark that has returned alive. And I should warn you, as he sticks another piece of jerky in and kind of tears at it with his gnarly teeth, there are many dangers, natural and otherwise, in this place. You should know full well that every time you step foot in the marshes, you might not return.
By unnatural, you mean what? Magic?
Oh, yes, there is magic here. Old magic. There, it hangs in the air. This fog, for instance, it never leaves. It blots out the sun and gets worse as you move in. You would think that natural weather patterns would have once in a while clear it out, but no. No, it's here forever. It's the creatures you see here are molded, changed. They're different than the ones you would meet in a normal swamp. Some are larger, some have more teeth, some are faster. Some are not wholly natural at all, being twisted by some force unknown to man. There are undead as well, and increasing in numbers as of late. For what reason, I cannot tell. Trolls.
Stories of a witch. Sorry.
I'm sorry?
Any stories of like a witch or anything like that? A place where the
Mm.
undead are most?
No, there's always stories of witches in the swamps.
Have you heard or seen tale or of a creature that very long, sharp nails? And I'll give a description of the thing that impaled me.
Mm. I've seen such a
Uh,
creature here before.
you have or have not?
I have.
And it is sentient.
Oh, very smart. One night, I was sleeping at the first beacon, and I heard a swirl of water. This is not something that is very unusual. Oftentimes, if you're a light sleeper, you will be woken. While the beacons protect you safely from creatures of the night, it doesn't keep them from seeing you. Oftentimes, they will move by the island and gaze on you hungrily, hungering after your flesh. But most know from how long they have tried to get upon it that they cannot. But this creature you speak of, it waited me out once. It sat there, woke me up in the middle of the night. I looked, and it stood at the edge of the island, staring at me for hours, days even. Its sinewy flesh rippling over the tight muscles underneath. You could see its organs pulsating underneath the skin. Its long arms and fingers draped motionless in the waters. And it just stared at me with a grin on his face. 3 days. I almost ran out of water and food. I don't know what called to it to make it leave, but fortunately for me, it did leave and walked away into the swamp, and I have not seen it since. This is probably one of the closest times I've come to death out in the marshes.
That the creature that you described, very truly terrifying. But what what or who would that creature call its mistress?
Oh, who knows? Perhaps it's its own master. It didn't speak a word to me, just looked on me with hungry eyes. Who knows what's in the marshes? We humans. And with that, he looks down at you. Yes. He goes, excuse me, no offense. We are not made for this land. But there are many that are. And I've encountered many of them. Who knows what's deeper still into the Hool marshes? What horrors await? Obviously, the expedition so long ago came upon something truly terrible. For to push inwards to 30 miles into the marshes is almost unthinkable, but they did it. They did it. What did they find? That is what I want to know. What killed them? What ended them? What took the life of my ancestor so long ago? He seems to be lost in thought as his eyes kind of blankly stare out over the foggy waters of the swamp. No one's been able to commit to going out there with me. And now I have you. Our goals are different, but hopefully we'll be able to keep each other safe. Find that third beacon. The history books say it was. Oh, excuse me, find the fourth beacon. There are 3 beacons. The history books say that the fourth was going to be different. That the expedition had found something out there that that gave them pause, that made them want to stay a little bit longer, set up a base of operations where they could study something. They mention a tunnel. But they were lost. We know nothing more.
Are there any of the fungus around that aren't in the that same type of fungus that aren't burning in the fire yet?
Yeah, there's like a couple of like he had a pile that he was making. So there's some left in the pile. Yes.
Kala will pick one up and kind of feel it with his hands and say, "Strange fungus, highly flammable. This seems like your sort of thing, Firebrand." And toss it to Hiss.
Yes.
I can play with this later. I am more scared of something eating me.
Oh, we should be all right here. The monsters know to stay away from the beacons, not because they're afraid of them, but they just know that they normally can't get lunch around them. And as a result, they rarely come this close to this one. We should be safe enough. Yes, those mushrooms are very interesting. I found them out in my travels one time. It had changed my life forever. It changed my exploring. It enabled me to explore during the winter and not just the summer. While there are bugs and mosquitoes all the time, it's not so bad in the winter, especially with the smoke produced by those hard caps. The spores are extremely flammable, while the actual body of the mushroom themselves is it's rather long burning, slow but hot. Yeah, that's the kind of thing that people don't understand. The marshes, though terrible and dangerous, they do hold interesting and valuable resources that are being wasted due to fear. Anyways,
It would make for an interesting carving media.
That's what I was thinking.
yes, perhaps.
First mushroom carver.
Not a bad idea.
You're a worker of wood, are you?
Yeah, you could say that.
I
Although
did.
lately my
I'm sorry, you were going to say lately what?
I was going to say of late, my hands have been failing me of sorts. I haven't It's been a while since I've done good work.
Well, that's the journey of an artist. You can't give up at the first sign of trouble. That's probably a sign of a breakthrough, I'd say. Just keep at it.
If you say so.
I do.
Well,
I just did.
well, we're grateful to have you, Master Orin. I think your expertise will be invaluable as we journey forward. I know our goals are slightly different, but I think in a way they're in line. I have reason to believe that I too have an ancestor or ancestors who had some part in the swamp years ago, probably well before the expedition.
Really? What gives you that impression?
Crazy dreams, elaborate dreams.
Oh. He kind of like looks at the rest of you, at the side of his eye. Dreams, huh? What kind?
Well, often involving a forest of sorts with a clearing and an enormous, gigantic snake, and a woman that seems to command it. I think one of my ancestors killed this snake, and this woman, I don't know what she is, this witch, threatened him. But seems there was something unresolved there, something yet to be done.
He kind of looks at the rest of you. Oh, okay. Huh. Kind of a thin reason to go into a death swamp, huh? No judgment. No judgment at all. And as he says this, Tomas, who's been kind of lounging against his pack, goes, "Yeah, you think?"
Look, I'm well aware how this all must sound, and I'll say again what I've said earlier. None of you owe me anything. You are free to leave at any time.
That's fair, I suppose, says Tomas. Like I said, treasure seems to follow you all where you go, and I'm running low. Plus, you need someone to look after you, I think. Lucille rolls her eyes and smacks him upside the head.
Yeah, that should be a Nuke. That's just asking for trouble.
I think we need to offer Thomas a red shirt and maybe the landing party.
Oh no, he died horribly in the swamp. Who
Oh,
could
no.
have foreseen this?
He just like disappears below the waters in a splash. He's just gone so fast. Well, we should make an early start. Sunrise. The longer you're in what would be considered daytime out here, the better. Um, it's about 12 hours of travel to the first beacon of peace. And that's notwithstanding any complications, which could and should be expected. Even someone who's as experienced in the marshes as I still get lost sometimes. And once we're past the first beacon, um, who knows what's past it? I've ventured afar a little further into the swamp, but not very far by myself. So it's a little bit of uncharted territory at this moment. And I'm not as young as I used to be, he says as he kind of unrolls his bedroll and lays down on it. I suggest setting watches through the night. I'll see you in the morning. And with that, he rolls over, puts his head on a rock, and in moments is asleep, snoring soundly.
I can take first wash. Y'all get some sleep.
I'll wake you up in a bit, then take second watch.
All right. So as you all kind of lay down, Natalia's been rather quiet at this point. She lays down. And go ahead and roll a perception check for me for the first 2 hours of your night.
Yeah, first roll.
Okay. You see a number of frogs, small snakes, bugs that try to bite at you, and you spend the next 2 hours snapping at them or slapping them. But other than that, nothing nefarious do you see. And about 2 hours later, Yukala comes and wakes you up. You switch shifts. And Yuke, why don't you go ahead and do a perception check for me as well? Okay. Similar experience?
Not bad.
Similar experience. Who's taking the next watch?
Hisek will.
Okay, Hisik, go ahead. Perception check for me, please.
I regret to inform you I haven't opened my sheet yet. I've been enthralled with the storytelling.
Wow. We're all rolling over 15 so far.
You do see during the course of your 2 hours of watch, you do see something moving out in the water, just at the edge of the lamplight. And you kind of ready yourself. And then you hear a splash. You watch as ripples come up to the shoreline, but nothing emerges. Your 2 hours pass. Who's taking the last watch?
His can be helpful somehow.
Okay. Yes, go ahead and roll a perception check for me.
Y'all know it's gonna be the bad one. Oh, okay, never mind.
Oh,
Natural 20.
sees all.
What a waste of a 20. You know for sure that nothing was coming out of that swamp this evening.
Maybe you see a firefly. That's pretty.
You see a gorgeous firefly who alights upon your nose. And for the remainder of your shift, all of the mosquitoes, for some reason, seem to avoid you. And at the end of your 2 hours, this firefly kind of like crawls up the bridge of your nose between your eyes and up onto the brim of your hat and takes off into the night.
Goodbye, friend.
And with that, morning comes. Oren taps your shoulder, tells you to get some sleep, and he takes the last 2 hours. And as morning comes, it's not a sunrise. The swamp just gets slightly brighter. That's about it. The fog still hangs, and and covers the sun, washing its light out across the swamp, just giving it a dull glow. And you guys make your way, pack up your things, and you make your way down to the shoreline. And you watch as Orin uh, lowers his pack down onto the ground, and he pulls out some strange contraption, and he touches it with both of his hands, and he says like a strange word. It just sounds like complete gibberish. Um, and you and then throws the thing into the water, and it sinks below the surface. But moments later, it bubbles and comes to the surface, and you watch as this strange contraption starts unfolding at odd angles, almost like in such a way that it's impossible that this much mass was contained in a package that was maybe a foot and a half by 2 feet stuffed into his backpack. And over the course of the next minute or two, the next minute, you watch as a boat magically unfolds from itself, large enough to contain the entirety of the group. And he turns and looks at you. Well, we best be off. Welcome to the Hool Marshes. And you guys pile into the boat, each grabbing an oar or a paddle, and you start paddling away into the marshes. And with that, let's take a quick 5-minute break.
Sweet.
I told you I don't like marshes.
But do you like marshmallows?
Yeah, they're pretty good.
Let me see here. All right. Still working. That means I'm back. Ba-ba-dum. Da-da-dum-dum-ba-dum.
Brad, I feel I have to ask for the sake of integrity, though I don't really want to.
Okay.
How did you call us sleep last night?
Just fine.
Really?
Mm-hmm.
Really?
Mm-hmm.
Fantastic.
You do not, however, gain back the hit points that you lost previously.
Fair enough.
How much are you down?
Hmm?
How much are you down?
Let me check my notes.
It's like 9 or 10 or something.
Yeah, I lost 3 one night and 6 another night. So down 9. But I'm still above the century mark because barbarians.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. What was that? Is everyone back?
So
I'm here.
I am.
Yes, sorry.
Yes.
I was being told by a friend about some stuff that's been happening with like Warhammer and all that.
Like what?
Fair.
They're forcing no one's allowed to make any fan content to like video wise community because it's not making them money directly.
Wow.
Yeah.
That seems short-sighted.
Yeah, it's really short-sighted because the reason why like D&D is having such a big success is because their fan policy is so open. So, rip.
Yeah, it's kind of like, hey, face, here's your nose. Cut me off.
Yeah, because it's free publicity.
That's
Yeah.
the thing. And it's I would say it goes beyond publicity. If you just think about like mentality and like if you do things so many times that create muscle memory, well, you create muscle memory in your brain too. You know. Yeah.
Hmm.
People are dumb, especially corporations. Corporations are dumb.
Yeah.
Shameful.
Dumb, big fat dumb.
Yeah. The equivalent that happened was like there's a video series where a guy has made an alternate lore of just using text to speech, and it'd be the equivalent of like Critical Role getting a cease and desist from Wizards.
Yeah.
Hmm.
So,
By the
Yeah.
by the way, we missed Gary Gygax's. We totally missed that the other day.
Gary Gygax is what?
His birthday.
Oh,
Hmm.
he's throwing cocaine-fueled parties with models in heaven now.
Is that what he did in life?
Yes, it is actually.
Really?
The success of D&D allowed him to move away from the Midwest to California, where he did in fact throw parties with models and cocaine.
Hey, if you've got the models, you gotta have cocaine, and if you have cocaine, you're gonna have models.
It's just wild to think that this turbo nerd just went.
Is it
like,
really
right to LA.
though? I mean,
He left.
it's not really. I mean, he was a turbo nerd. He was surrounded by D&D his entire life, and not by women.
Yeah,
So when he could get women,
you're right. It was the moment his wife at the time divorced him that he went and did that. So
What a shame.
yeah. I have a friend that months ago moved across the country from Washington to North Carolina just a few months ago with him and a woman and her kids. And the woman and her kids, he and his former partner, and I'm not platonic, heterosexual partner. I mean, they were a couple.
Like
he and
not
her.
married, but
So
together.
Andy and Tasha were a thing. They weren't married, but they've been together for a decade. A long time. And they were an intimate couple. They met someone who was on hard times, and they invited her and her kids like into their house and would go off on the weekends as a extended group, whatever, to do things. It turns out Andy, my friend, ended up hooking up with this Jocelyn woman, and the thing that they had, like, it developed into a relationship, the two of them. And so next thing I know, Andy and Jocelyn are a thing, and Tasha's out of the picture. Andy and Jocelyn moved from Washington to North Carolina, coast to coast, and she gets a job out there and whatnot. And then I just found out the other day she had an affair, I guess, maybe. And yeah.
Gasp.
Yeah.
It's not super surprising.
So he got on an airplane the next morning. Yeah, not really, is it though?
Oh, that's what I mean. I'm just being
Relationships
sarcastic.
that are created through infidelity. No, I know you are. I know you are. And he's like, all I wanted to do was love her and the kids. Yeah.
See here. Sorry, I'm doing something real quick. All right, guys. So
So anybody down in the South, watch out for a woman that works at Harris Teeter named Jocelyn.
oh, Jocelyn.
I know what a Harris Teeter is.
I know. That's why
It's a Kroger.
it is a Kroger. Anyway,
Jolene.
let's kill some swamp denizens.
Or get killed by
Jolene.
swamp denizens.
Or get killed and eaten by swamp denizens.
a Dolly Parton classic.
Heck yeah.
I was listening to that yesterday.
Dude, it's a song, man. It's a slapper.
It's a slapper.
All right. So you guys
Tell me you don't sit Tell me that when you see this meme that you don't sing that in her voice though.
What meme? Look.
That's pretty funny.
I grew up listening to Dolly Parton.
Sorry, Charlotte. That's the sound of my protein bar being opened up.
Munch.
Oh, by the way, Charlotte, we miss you. Hopefully you enjoy the session. All right.
Well, some of us miss you. Some of them miss you.
Ah,
Wow.
classic art.
Hey, she's not here. I still have to pick on her.
I look forward to the comment she's gonna leave when she gets to that point of the recording.
Yeah. She's gonna be like,
That's
wow,
right.
Kurt.
Yeah, she will.
Scathing. So you guys push out onto the Hool Marshes. It's hard to tell as you start paddling out in with Orin as the navigator. He's more or less guiding you which way to go. It's hard to tell how deep the water is, and truly, it does seem to vary at times. Every once in a while, Orin will pick up a stick that kind of lies the length. It's a pole that lies the length of the entire boat, which is kind of like a canoe. You guys are all stacked up in order. And he'll stand up in the boat and he'll like drop it down into the water just to periodically check the depths of the water. And sometimes he'll just kind of let out a yep, uh-huh. And other times, ooh, it's deeper than I thought. Every time he pulls the pole out of the water, you see it coming with it. Usually, it's just covered in leeches, and every time he'll take his paddle and like scrape off the muck, scrape off the bugs, scrape off the leeches that come with it, put it back into the boat, redirect your course, and you guys continue out. I'm gonna have somebody, you guys choose, roll a survival check for me.
Oh no.
Vanya, you I can do it if anybody else can.
One of the two wisdom people need to do it.
Alright, I guess. Yeah, I'll do it. Oh yeah, he got it. Oh, and that's better than me.
Okay. It's good. Things are good. Things are good. You guys progress well throughout the day.
While I'm thinking about survival in the boat and whatnot, Sister Hiss, might it be wise if you were to have some sort of flotation device? The depth of this water seems to be as if it would be over your head.
Fair. That is
Yeah, I don't know if we can.
And from what he has said, you might make for a delightful mouthful of a snack or something.
Fair point.
Hey, you saying you can't swim?
Gross. She could use magic.
I'm not sure if she can swim or not.
She is born in the mountain and probably didn't. I don't know if kobolds are known for being very very sea heavy people. I'd say she could probably tread water, but not swim that well.
Well, I
I'm
suggest
sure-
you stay in the boat.
Yeah, probably.
So, and as you guys are kind of paddling, the depth of the water does fluctuate, um, and it's covered really mostly by just a general grime. And if you can't see through the top of the water, below the water is dark with silt and grime as well. So it's hard to tell how deep the water is at any given time without using your paddles or using the depth stick. But it'll range everything from shin high to a human uh, to over the head and perhaps even deeper, depending. So with that survival check, um, you guys maintain a good course. Hisik, you're able to help navigate through the swamp and maintain a steady course based upon the instructions given to you by Orin. However, I also would like you to roll a d20 for me.
Doesn't sound ominous at all.
No, not at all.
That could be great.
The dice giveth and the dice taketh away.
Take it away. As you move deeper into the swamp, not much changes at this distance. It's hot for a winter's day. Surprisingly, the air is a bit stifling. Although you do remember the previous night being rather chilly, so the weather fluctuates quite a bit here. Um, the trees are small, ragged, sticking out all over the place through the water. Moss hangs from the branches. You do see animals from time to time, but generally they're going to be like raggedy looking birds, sickly looking creatures. Um, you see things like crocodiles um, fairly regularly. You dip an oar in and kind of knock on what you thought was a log, and getting a fast movement later, you're covered in water as you watch as a snaking form dashes across the water and dips below the surface. You've seen crocodiles jump out of the water and grab birds out of trees. Frogs are ever present. You've even seen large, strange fish swimming just below the surface, soon to disappear even deeper into the depths of the swamp. There are stretches of land as well that you see. That you even see these creatures kind of, can't call it sunbathing, but hanging out on top of. But you get the impression that some of this land just kind of comes and goes based upon water levels and rain and what's kind of going on in the swamp at the time. Much of it does not even seem suitable to walk on at all. And it's harder and harder to figure out where you're going and keep track of things. Even Oren sometimes seems like he's struggling. The day moves on, and you move from early morning into like noon time frame, and you can tell the sun is still visible as like this kind of hazy glowing orb through this ever-present fog cloud around you. I'm gonna have you guys roll another survival check for me.
Vanya, would you like to do this one?
Sure.
Okay.
We believe in you.
Again, Oren kind of looks up at you. You seem smart. Even an expert like myself sometimes needs a little bit of help. Yeah. And he kind of converses with you, shows you a map that he has, and you see that he's more or less kind of doing this from memory as best as he can. But you're not really sure that there's a better way. But ultimately, you guys are able to figure it out and keep on course. I'm also going to have you roll a d20 for me, please. Okay. As you are, so you guys continue paddling. As you guys continue to paddle through the swamp, the noon sun starts dipping a little lower upon the sky. Maybe an hour or so in, Vanya, you see a disturbance in the water, maybe about 50 feet off from the boat. You hear a small splash, and you see ripples across the surface.
Are they like approaching us or just moving away?
You just see ripples. You can't see what, if anything, made them.
Okay. I'll just kind of nudge whoever's closest to me and point it out, just so everyone's aware.
No.
Probably nothing, but just keep your eyes open.
So you keep your eyes on that area. Go ahead and roll a perception check for me. Hold on.
We are holding.
Uh,
What's that?
As you watch, you're just peering down into the water around you, and you see it. Just through the murky top of the water, you can see a huge mass of scales and muscle swim underneath your boat. Right under your boat and out the other side. And you turn and look over the other side of your boat and you watch as it swims away and out of view from through the murky water.
Hmm. No.
Orin, do you know what that was?
Well, I think I mentioned before that there are many dangerous creatures out here in the water. You've seen them yourself, crocodiles, even larger ones. That was old Thousand Teeth. He's kind of the king of these areas. Uh, bit of a nasty disposition, if I would say. Best to avoid that one. But it looks like he kind of tensely looks over the side of the boat. Well, I can't see him anymore. Perhaps he's lost interest in us.
Let's keep it that way.
As that's happening, you watch as further ripples show up in the direction where that creature had just swam. And you watch as there's a huge splash of water and a huge scaly tail comes lashing out of the water. And you watch as this creature comes to the surface and makes a huge, like a quick turn. Starts just thrashing in the water, speeding as quick as it can towards you guys. Go ahead and roll initiative for me. Here, you guys aren't going to have tokens. We're going to do this theater of the mind. So,
Ron, I have a question.
Can't flip a gator in the water. Dang it.
yes,
Does a flying creature fall at the end of its movement?
does it what?
A creature with a flying speed, does it fall at the end of its movement?
I would say no.
I have logic here.
Okay,
God.
what are you going to do?
If a creature that has a walking speed, does it fall at the end of its movement?
I know where this is going. No,
Oh, I think I know where this is going.
no.
So if I'm walking on water, I wouldn't plunge.
Exactly knew where this was going. Yes, you would fall in the water.
Why?
Well, if we're going on based on natural, how things naturally move, it's your natural plane of movement. It's where you're supposed to be moving around and how it works. You stand and walk in one motion. Birds coast and fly. We don't ever walk on water. You can't support your weight.
Monks do.
Yes, that's true. Let me think about it.
I've always thought that it'd be funny that at the end of your movement you stop and you fall in the water. But I could stop and fight somebody during my turn and then move again. I don't have to use all 30 movement at once.
Yeah.
So that ability does say you gain the ability to move along vertical surfaces and across liquids on your turn without falling during the move.
Mhm.
So it says it has to be your turn and it has to be during the move.
I guess if you run back to the boat, you're good.
I guess you're like circling while attacking.
Okay, give me a second here. I'm trying to find this creature. Come on. Well, it's not learning to. Give me 1 sec. Oh boy. Oh, okay, that's where it will be. Sorry, I'm just trying to find this token in this creature. And for whatever reason, I cannot find it anywhere. Hiss, what was yours?
That's a great question. 18.
Charlotte's missing it. We are all rolling pretty darn well. I don't think we've had anything under like a 15. With all of our maybe we had a 14.
Don't jinx it.
Yeah, sorry.
Now we're gonna fight this thing and just die via croc.
Terrible, terrible crocodile jaws.
And then Hiss. You got an 18. I think that's everybody.
Almost got a 1.
Dang it, Thanos.
Alright.
Or is he just going last for the sake of going last?
Dude, where is this dumb flipping crocodile thing? This is driving me crazy. Absolutely insane. Okay. I'm just gonna roll. I have his character sheet. I'm just gonna do it the old way. All right. So Theater of the Mind. It is now about probably about 30 feet away from you guys. Here we go. Oh, where is it going? Okay, so who is first?
I think Hissick.
Yeah.
Give me 1 second. What's his initiative? Oh, wow. Very poor, actually. Very poor, actually. There's that. All right, Hisik, you're up.
You said it's 30 feet. I'm going to hold my action, my attack, until it gets to the boat.
All right. Yuke, you're up.
Does remind me? I think Ukala has a hand axe that Hiss did something to, where it actually will return if he throws it. Is that a thing? Did I make that up? Awesome. Sure, let's go for it. Ukala would he closes his eyes for a bit and kind of focuses on his ancestral guardians as he goes into a rage.
Okay.
And he would like to... Oh, let me put the rage modifier on. Hang on. And he'll try to... It's probably like max range. Actually, what's the range of a hand axe? Hang on. I don't know if he's even in range yet.
Probably not.
It's probably 30-60.
36.
We'll go with 30-60.
I believe you're right. So he might be in range or might have disadvantage.
He was...
Well, not quite.
What did I say? He was like 35 feet?
Yeah, that's fine. He'll hold his action until whatever this thing is comes in range and throw the hand axe when he's in range.
Okay, sounds good. Hiss, you're up.
Is there any bit of solid ground near the boat or no?
Make an investigation check. There are patches of it within maybe 10 to 15 feet. But you need to determine whether or not they're suitable to stand on, basically.
Okay, so rolled 19. Really, I'm just asking I'd have the boat actually to do that. So I'm just gonna be all up in everyone's way, and at the front of the boat, just place my eldritch cannon. Oh wait, no, I can make it small. I can handhold it. I forgot. Yeah, I'll just make it tiny.
Okay.
Make a tiny teapot this time.
All right. So you have
As a bonus action.
So you create your magical teapot. You said that's your bonus action?
Yeah, and then going to mind sliver it as the actual action.
Okay. Yeah, you point your finger and this purple beam of light appears.
Gotta do that save.
Yeah. Intelligence. Going to be -4. It's a crocodile.
That's fair.
Yeah, and he did very well, as you can see. So yeah, the purple beam, almost thin as a hair, just zooms straight at it, hits it between the eyes, and you watch as it thrashes back and forth in the water, dealing it 7 damage. And then, I'm sorry, what's the effect again?
Oh, on the next saving throw, it makes before the end of my next turn, it has a D4 subtracted from it.
That's right. For the next saving throw it takes, correct?
Yeah.
Okay, Vanya, you're up.
Alright. Let's see if this is a charismatic croc. I will try casting banishment. Let's see if we can row far away in a minute.
Whoa.
Charisma save.
With a -1d4. Yikes.
totally, totally. Hold on. See, 7. It got a 4. So you watch as creature puts on a burst of speed. By the way, it uses a legendary action to just boost forward, and your eyes widen as this thing moves at lightning speed towards the boat. Its mouth opens, um, and then it basically uh, this portal opens up right in front of it, and it swims right into it, and the portal closes, and it disappears completely. Oren looks at you in surprise. Oh, Jeremiah said you were capable, but whee! Let's get out of here! Row! Row! And so Oren, at least by himself, starts paddling hard into the water.
Oh yeah, I'll grab an oar too, whichever.
All right, so you guys start rowing away as fast as you can. Over the course of the next, it's a minute, right?
Yeah, it's only a minute.
Okay, over the course of the next minute, you guys are able to um, get a decent distance away. I'd say maybe uh, 100 yards, perhaps. And as you get about 100 yards away from your location, you feel the spell slip, and it goes away. And with that, you guys are out of initiative. That easy, guys. That easy.
Don't mess with Vogan's Chosen.
The Mind Sliver was nice too.
And the Mind Sliver, yeah, that dude, Mind Sliver's so good.
Yeah, that I'm probably gonna take that cantrip every chance I can on character. It's crazy.
All right. So you guys keep rowing. Keep rowing and rowing. And night starts falling. You guys are about I'd say maybe about 8 hours. Maybe about 12. You're almost about 12 hours into your journey. Someone go ahead and roll another survival check for me, please. Okay, you pass. Roll another d20 for me, please. Night falls. You hear the calling of loons. Though normally, the sound of a loon would be a welcome and almost beautiful sound to hear. These sounds seem choked. They seem off. And you kind of get that feeling in general. You'll see frogs that have more legs than they should have, or crocodiles of unusual size the further you move in. Birds whose beaks are sharper than a normal bird's would be, depending on their species. Things are being twisted here by something, by some force, perhaps. You don't know. You see a number of shapes off in the distance that seem to make Orin nervous, However, over time, as the sun dips down on the horizon, you guys make it. You see just ahead a soft orange light. It's glowing. We've made it! Beacon of Peace, number 1. And with that, you guys direct your canoe over up to what appears to be almost like a 50 foot by 50 foot, oddly shaped uh, knoll of land that rises up almost in a maybe about 5 feet up off of the water's edge. As you reach the edge of this knoll, you see that there is a steel or a black iron uh, lamppost right in the middle, giving off a warm and inviting yellow light from a continual flame spell. And as you climb up, bring your gear with you and tie off your canoe, you pull that up onto the knoll as well. You feel this feeling of safety. It's almost like you've crossed a barrier. Whereas this entire day, there's just been this feeling of oppression, stress, and anxiety, looking over your shoulder at every splash, at every movement out of the corner of your eye. You ready your weapons and ready for danger, looking for the crocodile that you've seen before. You feel this weight taken off your shoulders as you step foot onto this grassy knoll. The grass beneath your feet is lush, about 2 or 3 inches tall, and soft, feathery, and greener than any grass you've probably ever seen. This is truly what seems to be an oasis. And next to this black iron light post, you see a small spring of water just slowly gurgling up from the ground. The water clear and free of bugs, free of debris. Fresh water to drink. You never know how good you have it until you have to pass through a place like the Huel Marshes, huh? All right. It's gonna get cold again tonight. With that, Oren sets his backpack down and pulls out a number of um, these mushrooms that you've used before. And again, he lights the spores after running his fingers through the gills and lights up a fire. You all kind of gather around and start eating. Natal eats quickly and moves off to the edge of the knoll, staring off into the forest, or not the forest, but the swamp. Tomas looks at Oren. Well, that was quite the creature back there, but I don't know, Oren. This place doesn't seem any more dangerous than places I've been before. I've seen swamps like this. Perhaps you're talking up the legend of the swamps more than it needs to be, huh? You just keep thinking that, son. You just keep thinking that. He goes back to eating his dinner.
Yeah, how much farther is the next beacon supposed to be? Another day's travel?
The old journals, the history books say they tried to space them out around 10 miles. Ultimately, what they were looking for was a spot of land that was tall enough off the water's edge and had lasted long enough that it hadn't sunk into to the water already. So they had a goal of 10 miles between each beacon, of course. You can't be choosy, but I think more or less. And he kind of pulls out it looks to be like a journal, a leather-bound journal. According to the directions from We should be able to find it. Easily enough, I hope. I know the direction, but not the distance. And as he's finishing that sentence, you hear Natalie call out, "Yuke, come here, quick!"
Go over.
She points out into the darkness. Watch. And she holds her hand up, and a flame appears in her hand, shedding light out across the water. And as you do so, you see two reflective white lights peering back at you at the water's edge. I think old Thousand Teeth has found us. And as she holds this flame, you watch as these eyes start swimming out of view. They disappear below the water's surface. I was afraid of that, says Warren as he walks up next to you two. Old Thousand Teeth doesn't like to let a meal get away. This isn't over. Luckily, we're safe here.
So you said they can't approach us here, but they can sense us, they can watch us, they can maybe even smell us.
Oh, yes. They can do all of those things. They just can't step foot on the island itself. This hole! And he goes over and slaps it with a bing. Is what's keeping us safe. I'm not sure what magic the old mages were using. But there's some sort of protection spell or an area of magic that opposes the swamp. Keeps those not of the swamp out. Which begs the question, what common thread runs through this place and its creatures, its denizens, that differentiates them from the normal world? Makes one think. No matter. I don't know how it all works.
This place here with the fresh water and the verdant grass, do you think perhaps that's how things used to be long ago, before whatever evil came across this place?
He squats down and runs his fingers through the grass. Well, there's no way of knowing. As far as any written history is concerned, the whole marshes have always been. Hey, it's a nice thought. But I don't know what could have changed. Something into a swamp so vast. It is hundreds, thousands of miles across. If what you're saying is true, a forest would have been equally as large. What could have changed it? Just speaking of something very powerful. Possible in my mind. What do your dreams tell you? Anything?
Not much that makes sense. Only that things were possibly different long, long ago.
Well, if what you say is true, it's a great shame. Makes me think no one lives here in the marshes. And the marshes are, I imagine, the exact opposite of what you're describing. I wonder if those peoples that perhaps inhabited the forest so long ago, if what you say is true. It's a shame, darn shame, to think that there was more land that had grass like this. What a loss. With that, he shuffles over to his sleeping pad, lays his head upon the grass itself, and falls asleep.
Never met anyone that can fall asleep as quickly as that one.
Oh, I'm jealous.
I envy it.
Well,
Well,
I'm sorry, you go ahead. You were going to say something.
I was just gonna say, private gondola, exotic flora and fauna. Aren't you all glad you came on this wonderful expedition?
Yeah, always wanted to try a cruise.
How are you holding up, Natali?
um, this place is strange. I don't know. And she seems very kind of preoccupied. So much so that you notice that she had continued to have that flame up in her hand. She kind of looks at it in surprise and douses it. Uh, I'm sorry. I'm just tired. I should I should go to sleep. She reaches out and kind of squeezes your arm and heads off to her bedroll and lays down.
You should probably get some rest too. Have you had any dreams since we've been here?
Surprisingly, no. Not since we've arrived at this place.
That's
Strange that
either
a place like
wonderful or
this would.
suspicious.
What's that?
I said that's either wonderful or suspicious.
Yes. Strange that this, of all places, would be a place for restful sleep. But for the time being, I can't complain. Uh, that being said, I'm happy to take first watch.
Alright. Wake me up when you're done. Better not to get eaten by our friend there.
All right, go ahead and roll a perception check for me.
Got it.
Throughout the night, you stare out across the swamp. You hear a cell phone in the distance. Text message. Now you look out over the water, and every once in a while you catch a little bit of movement. Old Thousand Teeth circling the island. Sometimes he gets close enough to where the
that we have good coverage out here in the swamp.
Yeah.
I believe I'm getting at least 4 bars.
Yeah, 4G, huh? All right. You scroll through Instagram. As usual, you get lost in TikTok dances and bad memes. But every once in a while, you see old Thousand Teeth gets a little closer to shore. You see the reflection of the lamplight on his eyes. He'll sit for a time, motionless, his huge form rippling in the water. And then he
Are there sizable
disappears.
trees?
At this point in time, there aren't really. The trees are pretty scraggly, few and far between. But they are, as you move deeper into the swamp, becoming more frequent. You're surprised as you stare off into the night when Vanya taps your shoulder. Kind of start at it, and she takes over, and you go sleep. Vanya, go ahead and roll a perception check for me.
Gonna glare at that gator.
You also, throughout the night, catch occasional sightings, rather, of Thousand Teeth as he moves throughout the water and circles the island. At one point in time, you even hear him. And with that, he disappears below the water, and you don't see him for the rest of your shift. Your shift ends. Hyssek comes up behind you, taps you on the shoulder, and you relinquish the watch to him. Hyssek, go ahead and roll your. Throughout the night, you see many creatures.
These rolls? What's up with these rolls?
There's no hide. You see nor hide nor hair of the giant crocodile. Hiss comes and takes your shift. Go ahead, Hiss. Roll your.
We are still cooking.
No, you haven't seen him.
Oh gosh.
Okay. As the last shift comes, Orin takes taps you on the shoulder. He takes his watch, and after the 2 hours, the sun rises, illuminating the fog once more. You stare out at the twisting clouds as they pass by and flow like water themselves over the swamp surface. You all prepare for your journey, gather your effects. And you hop and you gather the effects and you prepare to push the boat back into the water. How do you guys want to proceed?
I guess just carefully. I mean, we'll definitely keep an eye out if we see.
Yeah, is there anything we could push into the water I don't, it sounds like there's not a lot of trees around, so maybe not a log or anything that we could like push out in the water before. Yeah.
Yeah, the The island you're on is like pristine. There's nothing dead on it, nothing just laying around. It's grass, posts, lamp posts in the spring. Even as you look in, like you look at the ground, you don't see insects, you don't see worms, you don't see anything like that.
Hmm. What could we do?
We do a quick scan of the water before we, just to double check before we do anything.
Absolutely. Go ahead. You don't see anything. The water's quiet. Unmoving. And then you catch it. And then you catch it. You see a tree in the distance, maybe 100 feet off, scraggly. And there was a dark shape kind of towards the bottom, and you just took it as a root initially. As you're looking, you just barely catch the barest hint of movement. A root, a branch sticking up out of the water, just barely disappears beneath the surface.
I saw something over there. Looks like, I don't know what it was. But something just dropped below the surface, way over yonder, by that tree.
If we're gonna fight, we don't want to fight in a boat.
Don't think we're gonna be able to get rid of it so easy this time. It seems a little angry at us.
Or hungry, perhaps. I look at you and I see strapping young men, women, and kobolds. It probably seems delightful morsels riding around on a boat, floating smorgasbord. Can't blame them. Food's scarce out here. A creature able to grow to that size is a hunter of greatest ability.
Is it just gonna waste? Is it just gonna wait for us then to get into the boat?
Perhaps.
Seems to be a game of cat and mouse. Do we just decide to battle it?
I don't think we have much choice. It's going to keep following us, and it has the home field advantage.
This creature, though, it doesn't seem to be an evil creature, just doing what it does.
Yes. Yes, I don't know. I have seen the creature from a distance and has left me alone before, fortunately. I haven't had much occasion to experience its morality or ethics. Things are strange here in the swamp. And this one seems wilier than the rest. It's not unthinkable that it should develop some sort of personality. Who's to know?
Is the water right in front of us shallow, or does it look deep?
You could check with the pole. So you go grab it and you stick it into the water. It's probably about 7 feet deep at this point.
Right, I would sink like a rock in this.
I don't know if there's any other food we can offer it, or even if we did, if it would be enough to satisfy.
Thomas.
Yeah.
Are you thinking the same thing I am? Reaching into the bag of holding and pulling out a huge Snickers bar.
uh, well, some of you rightly probably want to stay on land. Doesn't seem like a wise idea, but I could go out in the boat and give it some bait, so to speak. Possibly you stay here on land. Don't have to
If it
worry.
gets dodgy, I could turn you into something, and you just punch it to death.
Don't know that I'm the biggest fan of being transformed. It was a little rough last time, but I have to admit that's not a bad idea.
Alright, I don't have a better one.
But oh, there we go. Oh, sorry why you're all so quiet. I had my volume set to 25.
Nantali looks at you, Yuke. I could go out there.
What?
Yes, I'll draw it out. I'll bring it in close to the island, and then you could hit it with attacks. I mean, it's all right.
How far is it from shore?
Well, the last place that Yuke saw it, and you guys hadn't seen it, but Yuke saw it was, and if it's what it was in the first place, he just saw some movement.
Right.
Was about 100 or so feet away.
Natali, no, you're too important for all this. We can't risk you getting hurt.
Oh,
I think
and
I'll
you're
use the
not?
flash-
Listen, I'll get in the boat. I'll bring it out. I'll row it out. I'll bring it in close. And then you can all do what you do best.
I'm not letting you get in the boat alone. You're so insistent.
I could listen. I can teleport myself back. All right. If it attacks, I'll make sure not to go too far, and I'll poof, be right back on the island. Of course, now that I think about it, that means the boat's going to stay out in the water. That could be problematic.
I could entice it to shore without the boat.
Really? How so?
Well, I could go out and come back.
I have no doubt you're a strong swimmer, but I don't know that that's the wisest idea.
I wouldn't necessarily be swimming or be walking or be swimming. Although I am quite the swimmer with this, and I flip the hood up on my cloak.
You guys are crazy, says Tomas from behind you. Listen, I know I'm not highly respected here, but what benefit do we have in fighting this creature? You just try to sneak past it. And why doesn't Vanya just send it to another plane of existence again, and we roll away like we did last time?
We could, but it might just follow us again.
Yes, I suppose. Why do I let myself get entangled with these things? Few people.
Alright, I like Hissik's plan best.
Yeah, it seems to at least die immediately.
All right, I'm still not sure how you're going to get this thing's attention, but sure, let's try it.
All right, what do you guys do?
Release the bait.
I'm gonna pull the hood up on my manta cloak. And I will I can, so that's one. We're not in combat, right? So am I worrying about actions and bonus actions and turns and
No.
hello?
Yeah, I said
All
no.
right.
No.
Oh, sorry. Okay, so my intent is to pull my hood up. I'm going to run out to where, or close to or close to where it was. Make a commotion with my stick as I run around without stopping, and then I will run back to shore. So,
Okay. So how far? It's about 100 feet away from when it was last seen.
right,
Where are you running to?
I I can I can go 90 feet. So with my dash, and I have a bonus action to where I can drop a key and move another 45.
Okay.
So step of the wind allows that.
Okay.
So I'll go out where really close to where I thought it was. like if it's 100 feet, then I'll go out 90 feet or whatever
Okay.
and try to entice it back. And when I do fall in the water, I'll use my bonus action to step of the wind, or however you want to divvy those out to swim back.
Okay. So what was our determination as far as what we were talking about earlier? Your ability to not fall into the water.
I look at Sage Advice. It says when you stop moving, even if you, I guess you stop halfway through your movement, you begin to sink, or you sink.
Okay. Yeah, because I mean, ultimately, then you could run across the ocean as long as you didn't stop moving.
Correct.
So it's gonna turn.
But that's yeah, like yeah.
As long as you kept running, you would never sink.
And that's narrative versus combat. Role playing outside. It's just how do you do that? Because nobody in life. Oh, I got 6 seconds to do something. I gotta wait
Right.
until now. I stop. I gotta wait for you to do your thing.
Right.
We continuously move.
What were you gonna say, Hiss?
Oh, I should say that like Monk has a weird thing where it's like ribbon flavor abilities are tied directly into its combat abilities almost exclusively, and it's weird.
Right.
Some of them.
How about I'm fine with you continuing to run in the water, but as soon as you like attack or do something that would require you to move differently than just straight running, kind of like the way I view it is like that lizard that can run across the water.
Right.
Like clearly, it's doing everything it possibly can to stay on top of the water. And the moment it would divert its attention or slow down to do anything else, it's gonna fail, right?
Okay.
So that's kind of how I think I would view it.
Okay.
So as long as you're straight running, you can stay on the water,
All right.
and you're
I'll
like
get out
running
there.
hard too.
I'll get in place.
All right, so you move out to the edge. Everyone kind of lines up behind you. What is everyone else doing? You kind of like get behind them at the edge of the knoll.
And I pull out my gun.
Teapot appears.
Got my gack.
Bruh, bruh.
Yeah, I'm just gonna ready myself like near the edge.
Okay.
Yeah, same thing. Weapons drawn, eyes peeled.
Natali takes her hand and puts it on your shoulder. It's like, don't worry, if this doesn't work out, I have a few tricks up my sleeve. Good luck. You guys are crazy. Jeremiah should have told me about you guys. All right, what are you doing? Tell me what you're doing.
Off I go.
Off I go. You take off. You like get down into a sprinter start. Close your eyes. Everybody, you watch as Sissik's muscles like tense up and then relax. And then tense up quickly, and he shoots off like a lightning bolt, running across the water. You watch as you hear Oren behind you. God, Zooks! You gotta be kidding me! As your feet just tap the water so lightly and so quickly that you start racing across the water, sending ripple after ripple after ripple, sending out across the surface of the swamp. Moss is flying off in all directions behind you as you run 10 feet, 20 feet, 30, 40, 60 feet, 70 feet, 80 feet, and at 80 feet, you watch as this explosion of power and force and water lashes out of the water, and you watch as this huge monstrous crocodile just shoots towards you at full speed. You curve and turn, and you start racing back the way you came. You were 80 feet out. How much movement speed do you have left in your turn?
Sorry, muted. If I turn and run straight back, I would have 45.
Okay, so at 80 feet, you turn and run 45 feet back. So you have 35 more feet to go to get back to the grassy knoll.
Okay.
As this happens, the creature lunges at you, swimming up to half its speed. It was 100 feet away, so it gets within 75 feet, and then swims at speed, which is 50, which brings him into range with you. He is right behind you, and with
Do
that,
we need to roll another initiative? Or yes, we're doing. Sorry.
so that was your full turn. It's going to get its full turn, and then we're going to we'll go into initiative after that.
I just want to make sure I didn't miss the roll.
You know what? I'm going to give everyone a chance to go because you guys were prepared for this eventuality. So it's going to get its chance to act. You already acted with your speed, basically using all your action to move. And then everyone else is going to get a chance, and then we'll move into an initiative order if required. So it's going to, as it comes up behind you, it's going to attempt to bite you. So it has a +7 to attack. Going to roll 20. It misses completely. And let's see here. And then it's going to do the same thing with its tail as it lashes out at you. 22. Does that hit you? You never know with Hisik.
Yes, it does. Yes.
All right, so it smashes. You feel this immense power as this creature's tail, huge tail, smashes into your back. All right, let me see here. It's 1d8 plus 4, so you take 6 damage, 6 bludgeoning damage as you feel your back creak. I need you to make a strength saving throw for me, please. You feel your steps falter as the momentum from the slam of its tail threatens to send you into the water, but you catch your feet and keep running. Go ahead, someone else. Go ahead and you guys can start doing your attacks. We'll start with Hiss. It's it's 35 feet away.
Oh, easy peasy. Gonna mind sliver again, just because mind sliver.
Okay.
Fun for the whole family.
Okay, so your thin purple beam of light. That's intelligence. Hits it, deals it its 8 damage, and gives it the D4 penalty.
Right, it has a negative modifier. Okay.
Oh,
right,
yeah.
and I finally get to use this. Can you use the bonus action to fire the teapot?
Okay, what are you firing out of it? Is it what's the flavor?
I want it to be a very vibrant red spray of hibiscus tea.
Okay. It's like a gush, almost like a column of tea that right as it reaches the distance, it spreads out, and you hear the hiss as this eldritch energy takes on this form as you use your mind and your will to mold its shape and type. And you watch it smashes into the creature and it thrashes back and forth. Go ahead and deal damage.
Nice.
Dealing 10 damage. Nice. A second.
It also gets pushed 5 feet away. If it's wait, is there a size limit on that? I never could check.
Perhaps later. I'm gonna need you to go back inside. I love you. It is very hot out here.
Totally not a PDF.
It gets pushed 5 feet back, so it's 5 feet away from Hisik.
You're welcome.
That absolutely saved him from a legendary action just now.
Nice. Oh wow, there is no size limit on that. That's wow.
So it is going to use a legendary action to move upwards to half its speed again. And it actually plunges under the water and swims in front of you and comes out of the water once more, sending waves of swamp water crashing through the air, sprinkling you guys and Hisik as it's now in front of you, Hisik. That was a legendary action. Next is Vanya. What do you want to do?
Let's see. First, how far away is Hisik?
Hisik is 35 feet away from you. This creature is now about it's right in front of Hisik now. So it would be 30 feet away from you.
Okay. Dang it, I can't quite hit him with Bless then. Then yeah, I guess for this round I will summon my spiritual weapon and whack at him with that.
Okay, it appears right next to it. Go ahead and roll the attack. Your lightning rod spear does hit him. Go ahead and roll damage. Oh, you already did. That's 9 damage. Okay.
And then I'll toll the dead. So my bonus.
Okay, what's the wisdom here? He fails, so he takes another 6. Okay. Yuke, you're up.
Sorry, was muted. So the creature's like 30 feet away now, you said?
Yes.
Okay. Ukala will again try to channel his ancestors and rage. So you probably see spectral hints of the 2 remaining spiritual guardians, maybe like kind of floating just above the water with like shields and spears and almost like tomahawk axes. And he'll wait till to see if the creature gets closer into range and hold his attack with the thrown hand axe.
Okay. I think that's everybody, except for the other people that are not around. So, Tomas readies his rapier, but he doesn't really have anything to address the threat with at the time being. Natali has her hands start glowing purple. She fires a bolt of arcane energy at the creature. Give me a second here. She hits it. Okay, as it smashes into it. And then Oren just kind of looks on. Doesn't do anything at this point in time. Lucilla. Sorry, I'm gonna pull up her sheet here. Pulls out her crossbow. And fires at it. Let's see. She hits it. 10-2. Okay. And that's where's her sneak attack damage? I'm not sure what her sneak attack damage is at this point, so we will do. I think we'll do that. All right, perfect. All right, so now everyone go ahead and roll initiative, please. You know, guys, for the sake of time, because there's no map and it's going to take forever for me to input all this stuff, let's just go with the original order we just went through. And so, Hisik, that means you're up.
Okay, so I will pull I pulled the hood up before I started running. So I'm going to, in an unexpected turn of events, dive underwater
Okay.
and try to swim underneath it.
Okay. Yeah. So what's your swim speed then?
60.
Yeah, you would be able to do that easily. You would move out of its range, and so it would get like a opportunity attack against you.
I wanted to swim underneath it and attack it.
Oh, okay. Yeah, so yeah, you absolutely get underneath it. You plunge into the water and swim underneath its belly.
And I attack it.
Okay, it's going to be a disadvantage since you're underwater. Doesn't matter though, you hit it. As you
If I have my Cloak of the Manta Ray hood up and I have a swing speed, does it mean why would I be at disadvantage hitting? I can breathe underwater. I can move underwater unimpeded.
We're going to say it doesn't, but I have to do some research on that.
Okay. And I will stun it. So I will use Stunning Strike. If I can find it on my list. There we go. Big key point.
What's your save?
16.
It makes it. Just makes it.
All right. I will use my second attack to hit again. And
You miss.
Terribly. Okay.
All right. Anything else?
No, I'll stay here engaged with it.
Okay. So it's going to use its legendary action to do a bite attack. So it's a +7 to attack. It's a critical.
Oh, shnikey.
So that's going to be 4d10 plus 4. So 24 damage. It's then going to attack you on its regular turn. So it's going to try to do another bite attack against you, which misses. And now it's going to try to slash you with its tail, which also misses big time. Okay, and that's it.
Would
That's
it?
its
I
turn.
mean, it doesn't. It's not a bite and hold.
No, it's not like
Okay.
a T-Rex or anything. The
Could
tail, the tail has an attack that like it knocks you prone if it hits you with a tail. The bite is just a bite.
Could Ukala see the bite happen, or did it happen like underwater, out of view?
Yeah, it's like thrashing underwater kind of a thing.
Okay, no worries.
I mean, but you do see that he dove into the water under it, and now the creature has just like just thrashing, and jaws snapping, things like that. And you can see that there's like blood in the water. You just don't know from what.
Got
All right. I think Hiss is next.
Wee. Do I shoot the crocodile into Hisik? I don't know who's gonna have a worse time with that. Use action to Scorching Ray, which probably isn't the best thing because it's in water, but it's the best idea I have right now, so we're rolling with it. And roll 20 is not rolling it.
Come on, roll 20.
Oh, there it goes. Okay. Well, it's 2 or 3.
Yeah, you hit on all three.
Nice. And Hisik is within 5 feet of it, correct?
Yeah.
Yes.
Alright, I just had to make sure I did get the pack tactics.
Oh, of course. 17 plus 14.
And now, I'll cannon it. This is a great day.
Yeah, it hits. So you hold out one hand. You're basically doing a Kimbo style. Your left hand fires your Scorching Rays. Your right hand fires T. And you definitely do another critical hit. Dealing 51 damage this round. Just
Wow.
smashing this creature.
I'm having a great time with this teapot.
Okay. Vanya, you're up.
Let's see. I'll definitely whack it with my spiritual weapon. Just for the bonus. No, I do not.
You definitely miss.
And then, like, how long is this proc? Like, if I positioned a spell behind it, would it still hit Hisik?
It's a large monstrosity. So technically 10 feet, even though that's actually a relatively small croc.
Yeah.
It's the biggest croc around at 10
I'm
feet long.
under it, underwater. So if the spell is above water, I would think like you could position a spell and not hit me.
Yeah, depending on where what spell and
Right.
Okay, I can do, yeah, Shatter, it's only a 10 radius, so I'm gonna try to position it, yeah, above the water, so it'll basically just hit his ears.
Okay, like hit the top half of him.
Yeah.
Okay.
And I will just go ahead and use my Channel Divinity to max. I'm just doing it, and I'll do it at 3rd level, so 48.
Okay, what's the save on it?
17.
It's a con save, right? Yeah.
It is, yeah.
He gets a 16, so he fails. So 48,
Yeah.
30, no,
32.
32, sorry. It smashes into him, breaking bones. You can hear scales fly off. This thing is not doing well. Yuke, you're up.
Ukala kind of looks at Hiss and looks at Vanya and feels kind of worthless as his ancestral guardians fade because rage fades if you don't attack or get attacked. So um how far away? They're still pretty far away. They're still like 30 feet away.
Yeah, so he's 30 feet away, but that means, in reality, that means you could swim to him, or his tail is probably only about 20 feet away, as far as how much space he's taken up.
Okay, yeah, YOLO. Draw his Festerward Claymore and start swimming out, and bonus action to rage again on the way.
Okay.
And if I can swim the 20 feet, I can I'll try to attack it. Let's see. I could use reckless attack to negate the disadvantage because I'm in water, right? If
Yes.
I reckless,
Mhm.
I'll do that. So if I can kind of get within range of the creature.
Absolutely.
All right. So awkward swimming attack. Go.
You hit it.
Hey.
You
I'll
take
try.
your razor sharp wooden claymore and you slam it into the creature, cutting off portions of its tail.
Try it again.
And you hit it once more. All right, how do you want to do it?
Really?
Yeah, you got him.
Yeah, I guess just wait for its massive jaws to come around and like try to slice off one of the massive jaws with my wooden sword.
Okay, so as you slice its like the end tip of its tail off, blood gouts out the back. You hear it, and it whips around, whole body like in a rubber band, almost folding in half. Its evil eyes like lock on you, and its huge jaws open. And as you do so, you take your sword and you like kick hard with your feet and push yourself forward, and you slam. You just do this like wild swing, and you catch it almost where the jaws begin, near the face. And as you slice, you feel the resistance against the blade as it cuts through both top and bottom jaw. They go spinning off in different directions, and the creature slams down into the water, spreading blood and froth all around you in the water. Within maybe 10 seconds or so, the creature stops. Thrashing, and it floats to the top of the water, completely dead.
Okala will look around and make sure Hisik is still alive under the water somewhere.
Kizik swims up to the top, gasps, knocks Hood back, takes a deep breath, and asks, "Does anyone need a new belt?"
I'm imagining Jaws, where like after they do the battle of the shark, blow him up and everything. That one guy who dove down in the water earlier just kind of pops up. I don't know if you guys remember that from the movie, but
Been a while, but yeah, or something like that. So you were joking. You can actually like run on water. That's like a thing you can do now.
I can run in water. Yes. I can also. I think you've seen that I can run up walls. I can move very quickly. And I mean, I used this cloak against you on the ship, so that should come as no surprise that I fight underwater well as well.
You never cease to impress, Master Hisik. As for me, I'm going to go back onto the land before I get eaten alive by leeches and whatever other filth is floating around in here.
Yes, being able to swim and walk in water doesn't stop the leeches, and you kind of give a little shudder.
Yeah, as you guys pull yourself out of the water, you do look down on your exposed skin, and you see that you do have a number of leeches that are attached and actively sucking your blood. Spend some time prying them off. You hear Lucilla behind. She's putting her crossbow away. She again she smacks Tomas upside the head. Why couldn't you do that? He sheathes his rapier. Look, I'm trying to make as much money as possible with the least amount of work possible. That makes the most sense to me. Old Yukala, he had it. He and Hisik had it in the bag, so to speak. No worries. Easy peasy. Oh, sorry, Vanya. Didn't mean to forget you as well.
That's the worst leech movie ever.
Also, remind me to never take a cup of tea from Mr. Firebrand here. That little teapot packs a punch.
Dude, 51.
Yeah, in one turn.
Just,
Yeah.
dude, that's like Call of Duty. You're just holding teapot in one hand and firing magic out of the other.
I just it's so easy to forget how good pack tactics is until you're able to get
Right.
like 4 hits
Oh
in
my
a row.
gosh. Yeah.
Unlimited power!
1,000 Teeth was not ready for tea time.
Mm-mm. All right. So, battered and bloodied to a certain degree and wet, you guys pile in to the canoe and you shove off once more, deeper into the Hool Marshes. At this point in time, you still have service. It's amazing. It's incredible. But the trees do start getting more frequent, and they start looking larger as well. The trunks are thicker, the boughs spread out farther, all of them leafless, all of them black as night, covered in fungus, mold, and moss. And now you're kind of in uncharted territory here. So I'm going to have, um, again, one of you working with Oren, trying to find your way using old charts and journals and notes he's taken from research he's done. Go ahead and make a survival check once more.
I did the last one. Vanya, would you like to? Or anyone else?
Yeah, I think Vanya's doing just fine.
Yeah,
You and Vanya both, honestly.
As best as you can tell.
Yeah.
As best as you can tell, you work out a navigational direction that seems to match up with the notes from Oren's research. Well, you guys are pretty good explorers. It seems like you've done this before. Just keep on moving. Right along. I'm going to have you do a roll a d20 for me as well. Okay. You guys continue on. Um, let's see here. I'm gonna have you roll a d100 for me.
Who? Just one of us?
You in particular, Vanya.
We could all roll d20s and add them.
God, there's 1d100. Wow. Weird.
Did you roll?
Yeah.
Okay, 16.
15, 16. Weird.
Yeah.
Roll one more.
uh,
Either too good or too bad.
Oh,
17.
I have done a pretty intentional job here of making you all feel like you're the older ones out here. So when you roll, scouts show up, kind of breaks the immersion. Won't work. So as you were traveling through the swamp, paddling, Oren gets up and he grabs the depth pole and he dips it into the water and he goes all the way down. It's like a 20-foot long pole. Ooh, 20 feet. That's and it hits something down below, and he kind of gets stuck. And he pulls, and and he falls down back into the bottom of the boat. The pole goes flying. Natali reaches out and grabs it just in time, pulls it back into the boat. And you watch as there's bubbling and some moss and material kind of floats to the surface. And along with it, you see a looks to be like a golden box. Floats and comes into view and floats on top. It's about 5 foot by 3 foot square, not square, rectangle, and crudely made, but definitely gilded in gold. On top, there is a what looks to be a crudely made golden statue as part of this thing. Think like Raiders of the Lost Ark, floating up in the water, and on top, it's not these angels; it's some grotesque hybrid of like a humanoid frog, standing or sitting on its hindquarters, looking as noble as whoever sculpted it could make it. You can tell this thing has a lid and can be opened potentially.
Pull it in.
Yeah.
All right, you guys pull it close to the boat. It's too big to put in the boat. You can tell it's heavy as you pull it. It takes a couple of you to like get it into place, and in fact, you're really only pulling your boat closer to it as it floats.
The swamp mimic.
Yeah, that's right. It's actually Hiss's mimic. It's just coming along. It did the old Yeller thing, followed along on vacation. Peter.
Timmy's trapped in the well.
Um, but no, it doesn't sprout teeth and attack you. Tomas leans over the side of the boat. Now that's what I've come to this trip for. Who's opening it? Well, don't look at me.
We should check it for traps.
Yeah. And does it look locked? Does it have a lock?
I suppose that's my specialty. Sorry, Charlotte. I'm just going to apologize right now for terrible accent work.
Surprisingly, you've been quite quiet this trip so far.
Dad's accent work for British females is based upon old British royalty shows. So all of a sudden, Lucilla sounds like the Queen,
Pride and Prejudice.
the Queen of England. All right. She's gonna check for traps.
I say these are my favorite checks because you have to dedicate to it no matter what, even if you know you rolled poo.
She looks up at you. Nothing. It's clean.
Who's opening it?
Well, I'm still a bit damaged from the fight with the toothy maw, so someone else can open it.
Ukala will look at, kind of give Thomas, as he likes to call him, the side eye and wait for him to move, and if he doesn't, he'll open it.
All right. Yuckala. Yuck. Ola. How about we do as a team effort, huh?
Fair enough.
So you guys each kind of reach over, grab onto it, using a boot on one of these like gold encrusted crenulations on the side. Go ahead and make a athletics check with advantage. With that, you watch as there is a blast of air that comes out from the inside as the lid flips off and flies off of the altar and splashes into the water and starts sinking. Also coming out of the cracks is a spray of gooey acid. Go ahead and make a dexterity saving throw for me.
All right. I'll let you decide if this applies or not. The what's it called?
Danger sense.
Thank you. That's the one.
I like barbarians.
Yeah, go ahead. That works. You get a what is it? You get advantage.
Yeah, advantage if you can see the source of the dexterity saving throw.
Yeah.
Yeah,
so-
you're
it was-
darn it. You're looking at it, you know.
Okay. Well,
Um,
thank you, Danger Chance. I'll take a 19 over a 2.
Yeah, indeed.
Sure.
Tomas, however, he does it fine too. So you do take half damage. So you guys are going to take 7 acid damage as you guys are able to move your hands out of the way just in time to not take the full brunt. But you do feel the sting and the burn of an old acid trap. And as you now look inside, you see treasure, jewels, but it's sinking. Like water is pouring in now over the edges, and it's beginning to sink. What do you guys do?
Crap, sweet.
Yeah, is Tomas already like leaning outside of the boat?
Yeah, he's cradling one hand next to his chest, like wait, quick! And he reaches in and starts just grabbing like a handful of treasure. So anyone who's going to grab treasure, go ahead and roll a dexterity.
Dexterity check.
Oh, check, not throw.
Sure, Kala's right there. He'll... like, my hands, and then just like pawing at it with my hands all lame from the acid. Just like natural 1.
Oh. Tiny hands between people's legs, like a kid getting snacks from a table.
I can always put my hood back up and go get the rest of it.
All right, so that is how many gold pieces you each grab. Who else is in this boat? Natalie didn't grab. She didn't seem like she was that interested. She seems focused on other things. And Orin was too far back in the boat. So, let's see here. It's 30, 50, 68, 87, 89, thanks to you. You guys are able to grab 89 gold pieces out of this treasure box and scoop it into your canoe before it sinks down 20 feet to the bottom. It's still there if you guys want to do something else with it.
I can recover it. Do we want to take the time for me to recover it?
Hmm. Do we really need like petty gold?
Yeah, we didn't see anything more special than
I-
gold.
What I find interesting about it though is not the amount of the gold, but the fact that it's been here as long as it has been, and so it's probably has an archaeological aspect to it.
And truthfully, as you look at the gold pieces, they're not like anything you've ever seen. Yes, that's pure gold, but each one is shaped in the fashion of that same, what was perhaps a deity long forgotten. So it's definitely old stuff.
I think it's worth taking the time. If nothing else, it goes to Oren and his search for past.
Yeah, that's
Fair
fair.
enough. And I'll just give you another quick heal. That sucks.
Okay.
I'll flip the hood up and I'll commence to diving.
Okay. And go ahead and roll a. Hmm, nothing check. Don't roll. So it'll. It even with your hood, it takes time to make these trips up and down, up and down.
Right.
With the
Yeah, for sure.
gold, the boat is incredible. While originally it fit in a backpack, it seems to be able to carry a large amount of weight, especially once you're able to put the stuff into your bag of holding. And you do find other things in there. You find not just gold, but you find jewels um, as well. And over the course of probably the next, it takes you some time. Um, it takes you about, if you want to spend this amount of time, it takes you about 3 hours to excavate and bring everything up that's in it.
Oh wow.
Um, and in doing so, you're looking left, you're looking right, um, keeping an eye on things. You do, through the course of this, lose, over the course of the 3 hours, you lose 12 hit points um, from continual blood sucking from the leeches that continually, or you're having to remove, and but they keep coming back. So you lose 12 hit points. But ultimately, you gain the following treasure. You gain over 1,500 gold pieces. Um, additional to what you'd already gotten. Um, you gain another 350 gold pieces in gems. None of them are very fine. They're all raw, uncut specimens.
All right, what was the worth of the gems?
300.
350 gold pieces in gems.
Oh, 350.
So they could possibly fetch a higher price eventually if you were able to get them cut at some future time. Um, And there's also a strange statue of a frog. That you pull from like the very bottom.
Um,
Um,
to-
the frog itself is made of jade. Looks like some like it's a beautiful. It's the only thing in here that's actually carved. Um, made of this pale greenish smooth rock. As you are sitting there, Hisik, you tiredly flip yourself back into the boat. Oren says, "Well, I hope the gold was worth it. I think it was, but we should probably get going. We don't know where we're going necessarily, and we don't want to be caught out here in the dark." Well, with that, you guys start paddling on. It's about 3 hours behind schedule now. You continue through the swamp, getting a little bit past midday. Now you're kind of on to late afternoon. I'm going to have someone else roll a survival check for me, please.
someone else.
No, I mean, Vonnie can do it as well. Just somebody. I'm sorry.
Yeah, I just did it, so for someone else, yeah.
And Hisik, I think you are being healed by 13 from Vonnie as she places her hands on you.
After the leeches, 'cause that's gross.
Who's doing the survival check?
I guess I will. It's fine. I wasn't sure if Anya was.
Okay, so you get back near the back seat, to near the rear of the boat with Oren, and you start poring over his journals again. And you accidentally get some water, drip some water on his pages, and you smear a number or two. Um, and as a result, you guys end up getting lost for another 3 hours.
3 hour tour.
Ultimately, you were able to dry off his journals. Um, and find your way back the direction you're supposed to be going again. I'm also going to have you roll a d20.
I should have known that.
Okay. Go ahead and roll a d100 for me. Okay, as you guys are moving through the swamp once again, further in, the sun starts setting lower on the horizon. Tomas is staring off the side of the boat. Lucilla's looking over the other side. And you hear Tomas go, "Hey, hey, hey. That fog over there, does that look strange to you?" Lucilla kind of looks off into the distance. And this fog itself is like extra thick at this point in time. and there's a number of trees. The trees have become much thicker now, and she goes, I don't know about that, but there's something moving behind that tree. And you watch as this gray-skinned humanoid, hunched over, kind of peers around the edge of the tree, opens up its mouth, and this long red tongue kind of lolls out and starts snaking back and forth, almost like it has a mind of its own, like licking its own chest, moving up its own shoulder, and then eventually rolling back up into its mouth, coming back out again. And you watch with horror as um, 4 of these creatures come out from 4 different trees, and they start moving towards your boat, running with incredible speed. Um, everyone go ahead and roll initiative. Don't roll initiative yet. I'm going to move you to a page. Hold your horses. It's not that one. It's going to be this one. Oop. And everyone go ahead and roll initiative. I think I have the initiative order up.
It's not cleaned out.
What's up?
It's not cleared. We have the same.
Oh,
initiative.
yeah. Hold on a second. Boop. All right, there you go.
Oh, I took.
Yeah, so we have tokens on here, so now you can actually like roll initiative and it'll work out. Lucilla.
Should I do it again? Do you want me to?
I can add you.
Yeah, there we go.
Tomas. So as it were, Oren's going to control the boat, so he's not going to be considered a combatant. And I think that's everybody. Give me 1 second. All right, so these 4 creatures start running at you guys from behind trees. Apparently, the depth here isn't that deep. They're running at like knee length or knee height water. Lucilla or Vanya, you're up first. What are you doing?
I'll just keep it simple for now, and I'll just cast Red on. I'll do Hisik, Ook, and Ukala there.
Hold
I mean,
on.
yeah, Hisik, Ook, Hiss.
Alrighty. Cool. Okay. Anything else?
Nope, that's all.
Alrighty. Technically, Lucilla should have gone first, so she's going to fire her crossbow at one of these creatures. She pulls out her crossbow and fires, dealing it. Gosh darn it! What is her? I don't know. Dang. Come on. 25 damage. Her crossbow bolt takes this one right in the face and kills it immediately because she's not here. Vanya, you went. Tomas is up. He's going to leap out of the boat. It's difficult terrain. So he is going to run out, move 15 feet, and he is going to ready an attack. Isaac, you're up.
I will shoot at the one down south.
Okay, go ahead.
Where?
All right, you hit him with your longbow and it smashes into his chest, but it keeps coming. Same thing. Keep hitting it. Keeps coming.
I will then unass the boat, drop my bow in the boat, unass, and stand here to defend the boat.
Okay. Ghouls are up, I think. Hiss, you're not on here for some reason. What was your initiative? Do you remember?
That's because it looks like I forgot to click it. Oops.
Let me see.
Yeah, I full on forgot. Okay, I will do that now.
13. So you're next, actually. So go ahead and do your action, please.
Bonus action, going to eat one of my first level spell slots to make another cannon in my hand. And then I'm going to firebolt this fellow.
Okay. Teapot. Fires T, and you firebolt it. Firebolt hits, roll damage. 10, nice. And roll your teapot damage, or your teapot attack.
I was only summoning it. I can't attack.
Oh, that's right. All right. The ghouls are up. This one adjusts course. 15. And they seem like you would expect them not to be able to move so fast through this water. But they seem well adapted to it, and as a result, can move a little bit faster through it than normal. This one runs up to you. All right, so they're each going to do. Let me see here. This one's going to attack Natali with his claws. It misses. It's able to do 2 attacks. Ooh. It hits her for a critical, dealing her 12 damage. Let me see here. Hold on a second. All right, as this happens. Okay. You watch as her eyes go. Here, hold on a second. You watch as her eyes go black, and she reaches out a hand and places it up against the forehead of this ghoul, and you watch as just fire springs forth from the water below, just in a column of flame, encapsulating the ghoul all around it, swirling in a column. And she screams at it in this tongue that you don't understand. Dealing it 7 damage. This ghoul attacks you, Isaac, 2 times. 23 and an 18. The 23 hits. You take 4 slashing damage, and you need to make a con save for me, please. And then while you're doing that, Tomas is going to use his ready attack. He's going to hit it for 4 slashing damage. And it's going to attack him. And it hits him for 4. Do you make that con save, Kurt? Kurt.
Yeah, sorry, my wife just walked in the house.
Sorry, my bad, dude. Just a con save. You got hit by a ghoul.
Oh, fucking ghoul. Con save. $14. Not very good.
Ooh, it actually would have been 3d10. You pass it though. You feel this like rot try to take over your body, but it doesn't. It doesn't take.
For 10 damage.
Yes. Well, you took 4 damage from it.
Oh, okay. Sorry.
That was from a different thing. All right, so Natali's up. She you watch as this purple smoke forms around her, and in an instant, she is gone and appears over here in the water, knee deep. She's breathing heavily. Her eyes are still black. She reaches forward with her hands, and purple energy forms between her hands, and she fires arcane energy at this creature. And screams as she does it. She hits it, dealing it 11 damage. And you watch as this bolt of energy smashes into its head and sends it crumbling to below the water. Ukala, you're up.
Ukala's thrown off by Natali's sudden disappearance and whatnot. But just the same, he will go over. Actually, you said it's difficult terrain. Can I make it this far?
Yes, you should.
Okay. And bonus action rage, and take a swing at this ghoul.
Okay, go ahead. How many rages do you have at this point? 3?
Yeah. So I only
This is your
have
third one.
I have 4 rages, and I used 2, and this will be the third. So I have 1 left.
Okay.
Yeah.
As you rage, your ancestors appear around you and start dancing around the creature. Go ahead and roll your attack. You absolutely hit it, dealing 17 damage. And you just chop off one of its arms. Just lop it off at the shoulder. It falls into the ground. And as you do so, you watch as worms kind of like ooze out of the wound and drip. Oh, drip like along with the blood into the water. Anything else?
Gross. Use my second attack to try to cut off its terrible tongue situation.
Okay. Yeah, you absolutely do it. As you swing your Festerwood Claymore, it cuts off its head, it flips end over end into the water, splashing, and its body likewise falls beneath the waves or beneath the still water. Lucilla's up. She again fires her crossbow at this one over here. Absolutely just smashes it. We're gonna. I don't know what her sneak attack is. We'll say it's 3d6. It might be 4, but we're gonna do 2 of those. So 26, 28, 38 damage. She stands up, and as she sees a Hyssek is like kind of in the way, she holds her crossbow with 2 hands, closes one eye, and launches the bolt. You feel it just barely whiz past your ear, barely missing you, Hyssek, as this thing smashes into the center. Center punches the forehead of this ghoul and punches out the back, just blowing a huge hole. And it also collapses into the water. Oren looks out from the boat, says, I didn't realize how capable you all were. Sheesh! Alright, hop on in. We got time to make up. And with that, you guys hop back up into the boat. You spend the rest of the day moving through the swamp, navigating. You show up a little bit behind schedule, but not too bad. Ultimately, you feel tired. You feel the bonds of exhaustion just knocking at the door, but you're able to stave that off. And you eventually, only spending an hour or two in the dark, see the warm glow of the next beacon of peace. And bone weary, bleeding, you pull your canoe and possessions up onto the next grassy knoll, and you collapse next to the spring. Oren barely has enough energy to make the fire, to warm you all, to dry your clothes. You each eat a quick meal, drink from the sweet water of the fountain, and you fall asleep. Yukala, your night is plagued with nightmares once again. You are dreaming and seeing your friends being torn asunder by undead creatures, creatures your mind is even just creating, things you didn't even know existed. Maybe they don't. You don't know. You're lost in a swamp by yourself, and you just kind of go through these nightmares end over end, waking up, trying to go back to sleep, volunteering for watch. You guys make it through the night, resting, all except for Yukala, who. Give me a second here. Oh, no, give me a second. You lose 6 hit points from your hit point maximum. You wake up tired, exhausted, and feeling the weight of the world on your shoulders as you guys are pressing further and further into this this swamp. And with that, we're going to call it for the day.